You know what would make this world a better place? Another pickleball podcast. Hey there, pickleballers. Welcome back to the PickleFit Podcast, the show that helps you get stronger, more mobile, and injury-proof so you can master the pickleball court. I'm your host, Coach Kevin. I'm a healthy aging expert, a certified personal trainer and nutrition coach, and each week we'll dive into simple, actionable tips on strength training, mobility, and nutrition to level up your game and keep you playing at your best, no matter your age or level. So grab your paddle, lace up those sneakers, and let's get PickleFit. This episode is brought to you by the PickleFit Workout. This is the ultimate fitness program designed specifically for those of us over 50 looking to step up our pickleball game. If you're ready to play harder, longer, and with more confidence on the court, then PickleFit is just what you need. PickleFit is a 12-week workout program that focuses on building strength, increasing mobility, and dramatically reducing your risk of injury so you can master the sport without any setbacks. With customized workout plans available for both gym and home settings, with video demonstrations for all exercises, PickleFit makes it easy to stay fit and active no matter your current fitness level. And here's the best part. As a listener to this podcast, you get lifetime access to this program for only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Just visit mypicklefit.com to join a community of like-minded individuals who are turning back the clock on the court. Don't let age slow you down. Head over to mypicklefit.com now to get strong, get mobile, and stay injury-free so you can master the court. Okay, folks, Coach Kevin here, and I want to welcome you to episode 5 of the PickleFit Podcast. And what I want to do today is talk about some of my favorite strength training exercises for those of us over 50, so the over 50 pickleball athlete. In other words, which exercises are going to give us the biggest bang for our pickleball buck? So if you guys remember back in episode 2, we discussed why strength training is important for those of us over 50 who want to improve our pickleball play. And if you haven't listened to that, I strongly recommend going back and checking that episode out. But really, the two biggest reasons are, number one, is that strength is the foundation of athletic performance. So having that base of strength and mobility is really going to allow us to up our athletic performance on a pickleball court. And number two is the stronger you are, the more injury resistant you are. So when we think stronger muscles, remember, anytime we strengthen our muscles, we are also strengthening our bones, we're strengthening our joints, and this will help us play better, play longer, and of course, be more injury resistant. Now, I'm going to rattle off a bunch of exercises here that I think are ideal for the pickleball player over 50 who's looking to really up their game. And I'm going to do my best to describe these movements, but if any of these movements aren't familiar to you, and I'm guessing a few of them will be new to you, here's the deal. I've got another YouTube channel that's got a video library with demonstrations of all of these exercises, and I'll drop a link to that channel in the show notes here down below, so make sure you check that out. All right. So let's get started here. I'm going to break these up into a couple of different categories. So I've got strict strength training exercises. I've got some more dynamic, explosive type movements. And then I got one bonus movement here at the end for you guys. And we're going to start with some strength training exercises. And these aren't in any specific order, but I'm going to start with lower body type movements for strengthening. And my number one exercise on this list, and I didn't mean it to be this way, but this is probably one of the most important ones that those of you out there looking to up your pickleball game should absolutely have in your programming, and that's a Cossack squat. So that's spelled C-O-S-S-A-C-K, Cossack squat. And really what it is, it's kind of a lateral lunge / squat variation. And the body weight version of this would look like this. You'll take what's called a wide sumo stance. So that's where your feet are going to be wider than your shoulders. So you get this wide stance, and your toes are probably pointed slightly outwards, not exaggerated. And what you're going to do is you're going to squat down to the right. So you're going to keep that left heel and that left foot on the ground, and you're going to lunge / squat to the right. So that right knee is going to bend. You're going to try and get down as deep as you can. So we're working on some mobility. We're working on some strength here. And then we're going to come back to the standing position, and then we're going to do it on the opposite side. So now we're going to keep that right foot on the ground, and we're going to lunge down towards our left, stand back up. That's one rep of a Cossack squat. I think you can see how this would directly transfer to pickleball prowess, right? We are working on some lateral lower body strength. This is a move that we would naturally do. We do it, obviously, we'd express this much more dynamically on the court, but we want to practice this in a slow, controlled manner. Now, that's the body weight version version of that. So in other words, we're not loading that with anything other than our body weight. And I would recommend that you guys start with this movement at body weight. Get good, get proficient, get that good mobility. In other words, that full depth on both sides before we start to progress this. Now, the way we would progress this with weight is you would take a kettlebell or a dumbbell and you're going to hold that in a kind of a front rack position. So in other words, say just under your chin, up by your chest. So we'll hold a weight there and we will do that same exercise, just weighting it. And that way we can start to progress it, right? I might start with a 10-pound weight and then a couple of weeks later go to a 15-pound weight and then a 20-pound weight, and et cetera, et cetera. And those of you a little stronger, you might start with a 50-pound weight and move up to a 55-pound weight. So that's how we would load a Cossack squat in order to progress it and make it more difficult as opposed to just adding infinitely more reps to that. So that was my number one exercise, the Cossack squat. If you're not doing that, strongly recommend you add that into your programming. Again, you guys, if you're not sure what that is or you'd like a video demonstration of that, head over to the YouTube channel where I have that in my exercise library. Again, that'll be I'll put a link to that in the show notes. My number two exercise for you guys out there is called the banded X walk. Now let's see, this one's gonna be a little trickier to describe over a podcast, but it goes like this. You're gonna take one of those long super bands. You're gonna step into it. You're gonna start with your feet about hip width apart. You're gonna step into that super band. You're going to cross it below your knees and then grab a hold of that band. And you're gonna come into this what I call an athletic half crouch. So I've got my hips back just a bit. Just think that you're getting ready to explosively jump on top of something. So that would be what I would call an athletic half crouch. And we're going to step laterally side to side. Now, if you're in a gym or in an outdoors and you have room, you could just step like 10 steps to the left and then 10 steps to the right. Or if you're in a confined space, you could just step one step left and then back and one step right. But again, we're working on lateral strength here in the lower body. So a lot of adduction, abduction, so just fancy words for that side to side strength. But this is a great movement that all of us should be doing that are serious about upping our pickleball game. And I really like these as a part of a warm-up or maybe even a cool-down. But anytime we're working lower body, I keep a set of super bands in my gym bag when I go to the gym. And before I do some of these heavier leg movements like squats and lunges, things like that, I'll grab my band. I'll do a bunch of banded X walks right after my general warm-up and before I get into more specific, heavier leg movements. All right. So next up on our critical strength movements for our pickleball athlete over 50 is going to be lunges. And we're going to divide this into two. We're going to say we have a forward lunge and a backward lunge. Now, we've probably already covered the side lunge because a Cossack squat is kind of that, not really, but sort of. But a forward lunge is what it sounds like. I'm going to step forward with, say, my right foot and my left knee is going to come down and touch the ground. And then I'm going to explosively stand back to standing. And then if I'm going to alternate, I do the same thing with my left leg. I'll lunge forward, right knee touches the ground, come up. That's typically one rep if we're doing these in an alternated fashion. Another way to do that is I could do, say, 10 on my right side, 10 on my left side. So that's the forward lunge. And a reverse lunge, of course, is just the opposite. I will take my right leg and go back until that right knee touches down on the ground, and then again explosively stand up, and then come with the left knee, go back, touch the knee gently to the ground, explosively stand back up. So these are both fantastic ways of strengthening the lower body. I think you can see how this would directly transfer over to pickleball play. And when we do those reverse lunges, we're really just focusing a little more on the hamstring and the glute. When we do those forward lunges, we're just focusing a little more on the quads. So making sure that we're hitting that lower body from all sides there with that, both front lunges and back lunges. But if you're not doing lunges, strongly recommend you do lunges. You can do these body weight only. But as you get strong with these, I really love, there's a bunch of different ways we can weight or load a lunge. I just like grabbing a pair of dumbbells, holding down by my side and lunge that way. But certainly you can take a barbell and put it on your back. There are overhead lunges, lots of ways that we can load these lunges, but absolutely should be a cornerstone of your strength training program for pickleball. Next up is more of a specialized exercise, but I put this one on the list because I do think that it's critical, especially a lot of us that sit during the day or are very quad dominant. We really want to strengthen those hamstrings and the glute, these big, powerful primary movers. And one of the best exercises for this is what's called a Bulgarian split squat. So bear with me now while I try and explain this. What we're going to do is we're going to stand in front of, say, a bench, like a bench that you would do bench presses on, and you're going to take your right foot, and you're just going to put your toe, you're going to step behind you and put that toe up on that bench. So you're going to be a little wobbly here because it's going to require some balance, some coordination, as well as a good bit of posterior chain strength, primarily going to be, again, your hamstrings and your glutes for this. And what you're going to do is you got that back leg, that in this case, the right leg up on a bench, and you're just going to dip down. So you're going to bring your hips straight down, and we're looking for that nice 90-degree angle, in this case in our left leg, because that's the one that's forward. And then we're going to stand up powerfully, and we're going to do our set of 8, 10, 12, however many sets, and then we're just going to switch. So we'll have that right foot forward, left foot back on that bench. Do that same thing. Now, you can start with these with body weight. I think you'll find that these will, if you're not familiar with this movement, they will tear up your hamstrings and glutes. So go easy the first couple of times. The way we would load this exercise is just a pair of dumbbells, a dumbbell in each hand. And of course, we can just progressively overload that as we get stronger in this movement. But again, great exercise for those of us that want that explosive power on the pickleball court, want to be able to move and become injury resistant. Very critical exercise for those of us that are more sedentary when we're not out playing. Maybe we have desk jobs or we sit a good bit. Fantastic exercise. All right, my last strength training exercise for the lower body, so far we've just done lower body here, is going to be the dumbbell step up. Now we're going to start with a body weight step up, but it's exactly what it sounds like. I am going to find a bench. A lot of commercial gyms now have those boxes that are made to step or jump up on. This could be a stack of plates. This could be a step in your house, or maybe even a stack of those little aerobic steps that they have in a lot of gyms. But what we're going to do is we're going to stand in front of an elevated surface in front of us. We're going to put our right foot on there, and we're going to step up on there. So we're going to stand on top of this box, bench, platform, whatever it is, and then we're going to step back down. Then we're going to do the same thing with the other foot. That's one rep. So we're going to, in this alternating fashion, we're going to be stepping up onto an elevated object and then stepping back down. A couple of ways we can progress this. The obvious one is if you're stepping up to, say, a stack of plates or to an aerobic step or a couple of aerobic steps, it's just we step onto something higher until you're able to do either a bench or one of those commercial boxes to step up on. The other way we can progress this is by loading it. So again, we'll just grab a dumbbell in each hand and we'll do our step up. So you can get pretty heavy with these, get pretty strong with these. So this is a fantastic functional exercise for those of us that want to be strong, injury proof, and really up our pickleball game. So there you go. Those are, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lower body exercises that I think all of you should be doing in your programming. That's a Cossack squat, a banded X walk, got both your forward and reverse lunges. We got our Bulgarian split squats, and we finished up there with the dumbbell step up. So next up, I want to talk about a couple of my favorite shoulder exercises. We want to strengthen your entire shoulder girdle. We want to make it mobile. We want to develop stability and coordination here in our shoulders. And one of my favorite overall shoulder strengthening exercises is called the Arnold press. It's named after Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's why it's the Arnold press. And what you're going to do is you're going to start with a dumbbell in each hand. And imagine you've just curled. That's our starting position. We're going to start at the top of a curl position. So if you imagine you've got a dumbbell in each hand, your palms are facing towards you. And what we're going to do is from this position, we are going to rotate our palms away from us as we press up overhead. And then we're going to reverse that motion. As we bring those dumbbells back down, we're going to rotate our fists so that our palms are back towards us. And we're back in that starting position. Again, I know that probably sounds confusing out there in podcast land. It's not really that confusing. Check out the YouTube video on the video demonstration for the Arnold press. But this is a fantastic shoulder exercise. It's a full range of motion, so we're getting some good mobility there. It's great for strengthening that entire shoulder girdle. If you're not familiar with this exercise, I strongly recommend you add this into your workout program. So sticking with the shoulder girdle, and look, it is advantageous for us to develop some pretty serious lower body strength for injury resistance and for being strong and powerful on the court. With our shoulders, really what we want. We want strong, capable shoulders because that means injury resistant shoulders. But really what we want is mobility and stability in that entire shoulder girdle. So certainly we'll develop that, but that's the Arnold press is more of a strength movement. My next two shoulder movements are going to be more stability and mobility focused. And the first first one is an inverted kettlebell press. Now stick with me on this. What we want to do, we'll need a kettlebell for this. A dumbbell won't work. So if you're not in the gym, you might want to go pick up a lightweight kettlebell for this. And what we're going to do, the little handle on a kettlebell is called the horn. And what I want you to do is grab that horn right in the middle of the handle. You can quote unquote cheat this exercise by grabbing in the corner of the handle. I don't want you to do that. If this exercise is too difficult to grab in the middle of the horn, I want you to grab a lighter kettlebell. But we're going to grab it right in the middle of the handle, and we are going to invert it. So I want the bell, the heavy part of the kettlebell, to be up, facing up. And we're going to start as if we're going to shoulder press, because that's exactly what we're going to do. So I've got, again, it's almost like I've curled this. So now I've got my fist by my shoulder and I'm in a neutral grip, meaning my palm is facing across my body. And I am going to keeping that kettlebell stable, because this is the tricky part, right? I've got the weight up here and I'm holding the handle. So I'm in this kind of awkward position, and I'm going to slowly and steadily drive that overhead, and then slowly with control, return it back down. Now, those of you that are pretty strong are going to be able to do some decent weight in that Arnold press. This is a humbling move, this inverted kettlebell press. You're going to go way down in weight on this move because it requires such stabilization. So the objective here is I'm working all these little stabilizer muscles in that entire shoulder girdle as I'm trying to balance this. I'm also working on some grip strength, by the way. So I'm trying to balance this, keep this kettlebell from flopping over one way or the other, forward, back, side to side. Keep it straight up as I press up. This is a fantastic exercise for really making those shoulders bulletproof, injury-proof, strong, mobile, and really stable. All right, so that's the inverted kettlebell press. Next up, we have another shoulder stabilization exercise, and it's called a waiter's carry. And if you think of a waiter, I don't know that I've ever actually seen a waiter carry anything over their head, like with their arms exactly straight up over their head. But that's kind of the idea. You're going to take a weight. This is often a kettlebell, but it could be a dumbbell. And we're just going to hold it overhead in a nice straight arm. We're going to have a nice tight core, and we're just going to walk. We're going to walk forward, and then we're going to transfer over to the other arm, hold it overhead, and we're going to walk. That's called a waiter's carry. Now, if you are in a restricted space, you could do what's called a waiter's march. So same thing, you're going to hold the weight overhead into your right hand, and you're just going to pick your knees up high one at a time. So you're just kind of marching in place and then switch hands, do it with the other hand. But that is the waiter's carry. Again, as you might imagine, we are working on some core stabilization because we're unilaterally loaded. I've got a weight on my right side. So I have my core engaged for this. And of course, I'm working on that shoulder mobility and stability at the same time. Fantastic exercise. You guys make sure you got that in your exercise programming. Okay. So that's what I have for you on shoulder strengthening and stability. We had the Arnold press, we had the inverted kettlebell press, and we had that waiter's carry. Let's talk about a couple of core exercises that are ideal for your pickleball prowess here. And the first up, this is hands down, this is my favorite functional core exercise. Now look, notice I didn't say abs, I said core. Your core muscles are all of the muscles in your body from your hips to your chest, 360 degrees around your body. So I'm not talking about just the abs. We're looking at that low back. We're looking at these obliques. We're looking at all of the deep musculature in the core of your body. We want all of that to be strong. We want it to be stable. And this is what's going to help keep us healthy, help keep that spine injury proof. And this first exercise is called a kneeling kettlebell halo. Now, suppose you could do this with a dumbbell, but it's ideally done with a kettlebell. And let's see if I can describe this. You're going to come to your knees, typically. It's a kneeling kettlebell halo, although you could do this from a standing position. And you're going to hold that kettlebell in a front rack position. So in other words, it's underneath your chin, and you've got that weight. You're holding it there. Typically, it's an inverted kettlebell. So the bell, the heavy part, is facing up, and you're holding the handle with both hands. And you're going to start by bringing that kettlebell up and around your face, back behind your head, and around the other side of your face, and then you're going to continue on this diagonal down around your body. You're going to allow the momentum to swing, and you're going to use your core then to drive that kettlebell back diagonally up across your body. And this time we're coming around your face on the other side, back around your head, back around the side of your face, and back down to the side. And we're going to rotate with our core and we're just going to repeat that. I know that sounded confusing. It was. I'm sorry. I don't have a better way of describing that. Definitely check out the video demonstration of that. This is one that all of you guys should do. It's worth investing in a kettlebell at your house so that you have that handy and you can just take a break from whatever you're doing in the day and knock out a set of 5, 10, 15 of these. This is a fantastic core anti-rotational strengthening stabilization movement. It is a shoulder mobility, stabilization, and strengthening exercise. You're really getting a lot of bang for your exercise buck out of this movement. Strongly recommend you guys check this one out. My next core exercise is a plank pull through. So for this movement, we're going to get into a plank. And there's a couple of ways we can do planks. We can do planks from our elbows. We can do planks from our hands. For this exercise, we're going to do a plank from our hands. So think that you're in the start of a push-up position. Now, for this movement, you're going to want your feet to be about shoulder width or maybe even a touch outside of shoulder width apart. Don't want you starfished on this. In other words, I don't want you to use a weight so heavy that your legs are in a very wide starfish position. You want them about shoulder width or just outside of shoulder width distance apart. And you're going to start with a weight right behind your left hand. This is usually a kettlebell, but it could be a dumbbell. And keeping a nice tight core and keeping that nice plank form. So in other words, the shoulders, the hips, the knees, and the ankles are all in a nice straight diagonal line. I'm not going to let those hips come way up. I'm not going to let them dip down. I'm going to reach with my right hand over, grab that weight that's right behind my left hand, and I'm going to slide it across the ground until it's underneath my right hand. I'm going to put my right hand back down. And I'm going to reach with my left hand now across my body. I'm going to grab that weight, drag it, leave it there behind my left hand, put my left hand down. That's one rep. So that is a plank pull through. Again, this is a great core stabilization exercise. We'll make that core nice and strong. We'll make it nice and stable. And that is absolutely critical, really for life, for those of us over 50, but absolutely if we want to improve our athleticism on the court. So there you go. Those are a few of my favorite strength training exercises. And what I want to do now is jump into more dynamic movements. If you've noticed, what we've talked about so far have been really strict strength training or mobility type exercises. But those of us that play pickleball and want to increase our athleticism, we absolutely should be doing some more athletic type or dynamic type, explosive types of exercises. And here are a few of my favorite dynamic movements. First up is the jumping split squat. Absolutely love these. And the way you perform this is you'll get into a lunge position. So I've got, let's say in this case, my right leg is forward, my left knee is on the ground behind me. So I'm starting in that lunge position, at the bottom of a lunge position. And from here, I'm going to explosively drive my body upwards and I'm going to switch that stance. So in other words, my right foot is forward, my left knee is back on the ground. I am going to explosively jump into the air and switch my feet and land so that my left foot is now forward and my right knee is gently on the ground. And then I'm going to jump and split back. So in other words, I'm jumping and while I'm midair, I'm switching my feet out quickly, explosively, dynamically, and landing lightly. So that's the jumping split squat. I don't think it takes a whole lot of imagination to see how that might really improve your athleticism on the court. My next one is jump rope, just plain old jump rope. I love this for pickleball athletes. We get some conditioning, we get some balance, we get some coordination, we get some little bit of foot and calf strengthening and activation in this. We get some muscular endurance as we start to get better at jump rope. But if you don't have a jump rope, this is a sub $20 investment in your pickleball game. Well worth it. Throw it in your pickleball bag, keep it handy. But jumping rope will absolutely keep you light and quick on your feet when you're out there on the pickleball court. I love jump rope either before or after workouts as part of your warm-up or a post-workout little cardio session to get in there and just jump rope for a minute and a half, take a rest, do it again. If you don't have a jump rope, there is an exercise called a plate hop. Basically, you're going to take a weight plate, put it on the ground in front of you, and you're just going to quickly hop up and off of that with both feet. But again, I would strongly recommend you make the investment in a jump rope. Take the time to get good at the skill of jump roping. Your pickleball game will thank you for that. Next up for dynamic movements is the box jump. I love these. I feel like this gets lost as we age. We don't do most of us over 50 aren't doing a lot of jumping, explosive jumping, but it's exactly what it sounds like. We're going to take a box. Now, most commercial gyms these days have one of these jump boxes in them, but really it could be any object. It could be a bench, like the kind of bench you do a bench press on. You can work your way up to this. It could be a step in your house. It could be, again, a little aerobic step or a stack of steps. It could be a stack of plates, but something in front of you with elevation, and you're going to get into that powerful athletic half crouch, and you're going to explosively jump, land lightly and athletically on top of the box or the object you're jumping on, and you're going to step back down with 1 foot at a time. I don't want you jumping back down off the box. So again, that athletic half crouch, and you're going to explode quickly upward, land lightly on that box, and step back down. Those are box jumps. Fantastic for developing speed and strength and coordination that will directly transfer to the court. So those are a couple of my favorite dynamic movements that will 100% help the performance of your pickleball play. Now, the strength movements absolutely transfer to the court by making you stronger and more durable. These dynamic movements will really help up your pickleball play, get you to that ball quicker, get you to the kitchen line quicker, get you back for those lobs quicker. So there you go. Those are a few of my favorite dynamic movements. I think you can see how these will directly impact and level up your play on the pickleball court. Remember, those strength training exercises, critical, because remember, strength is the foundation for athletic performance, athletic prowess on a pickleball court, and it's also what's going to help keep you injury resistant, make you more injury proof. Being stronger will impact all areas of your life favorably, and then these dynamic movements more directly impacting your performance, your actual performance on the court. And I told you I had some favorite strength movements, I had some favorite dynamic movements, and I had one bonus movement. Let's get to my bonus exercise. I think that one of the biggest bangs for your buck for, I want to call this more healthy aging. I don't know that this has as much direct translation to pickleball, but I still think that all athletes of aging, those of us out there that care about being strong, vital, healthy as we age, we should all be doing this movement, and that's called the Turkish get up. So I'm not going to stand really much of a chance of explaining this on a podcast, an audio podcast, or for those of you watching on YouTube, I'm not going to get out of my chair here and go demonstrate this. But again, go to the exercise library and you can see a video demonstration of this. I also have a separate video because this is a more complicated movement. I think it's called How to Master the Turkish Get Up or something like that. I'll drop a link to that as well because that one's actually slowed down and is meant for you to prop up your phone or your tablet or whatever you're watching on and follow along with me as we do this. This is a rather complicated exercise, but in short, what you're going to do is you're going to start by laying on the ground on your back with a weight in one hand, and you're eventually going to, through a sequence of very specific movements, you're going to end up standing with the weight in one hand overhead, and then you're going to reverse those movements until you're again laying back on your back with that weight in your, say, your right hand. Then you're going to switch over to the other hand, and you're going to do that same sequence again until you're standing. Now you're standing with the weight in your hand directly overhead, and then you're going to reverse that sequence of movements until you're again laying back on your back. So strongly recommend you take the time to learn this movement. Again, it's a little more complicated than the other things we've talked about today, but this is just a full body coordination, balance, body awareness, and strengthening exercise that all of us over 50 should have in our arsenal. We should be good at this. So there you go. There's a few of my favorite exercises to get you stronger and to directly carry over into your pickleball play. And I will mention that all of these exercises, of course, are included in our PickleFit workout program. And if you guys are interested in that, you can learn more over at mypicklefit.com. But that's what I've got for you today. If you're not doing these exercises, or if you're not currently doing a structured workout program specifically designed to increase your pickleball performance and to keep you injury resistant, strongly recommend that you invest in that. Your future pickleball athlete will definitely thank you for that. That's one of the best investments you can make in yourself, is getting strong, getting mobile, and becoming more injury resistant as you do. So that's what I've got for you today. Hope you enjoyed this. So do me a favor, if you don't mind, send this episode to a friend who you think would benefit from this. And until next time, stay strong. Okay, folks, that's a wrap for today's episode of the PickleFit Podcast. I hope you're feeling fired up to hit the court stronger and smarter. If you've enjoyed this show, please don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and please share it with your fellow pickleballers. Let's grow this community of fit, fierce, and injury-free players. Until next time, stay strong, stay mobile, and keep crushing it out there. I'll see you on the court.